Hi everybody, my name is Laura and I'm one of Dr. Liang's master students, and today we will be discussing a project that I have been working on at the North Central Texas Council of Governments. The title of this project is Electric Vehicle Charging Infrastructure in Multi-Unit Dwellings in North Central Texas Cities. So for this project and presentation, we have an overview, goals, data sources, methodology, results, and sources. So here's a brief overview. The basics are that research shows electric vehicle adoption is on the rise in the United States. It is predicted that by 2040 there will be a 30% adoption rate for all vehicles. This includes passenger vehicles as well as commercial vehicles. And we have determined there is a shortage of EV chargers at multi-unit dwellings. Residents are forced to charge their vehicles at work or at charging stations, which is why we are focusing on these in particular. So MUD residents are traditionally underserved when we look at EV infrastructure adoption, and that is why it's important that we actually do something about it. And we are focusing on Dallas because Dallas has not met the EPA's National Ambient Air Quality Standards. Some of the goals for this project are understanding the relationship between three different variables, which are electric vehicle registrations in the city of Dallas, low income and minority areas, and EV charger distribution within the city. We want to conduct outreach to encourage MUD owners to install EV charging stations at their properties. We want to determine if traditionally underserved areas are receiving enough funding for electrification resources, and we want to promote funding opportunities in communities with low electrification rates. Lastly, we want to further the electrification and clean energy conversation and engage key stakeholders in the area. Next, I will be sharing with you where I got two of the data sets that I used for this map. First off, we have the North Central Texas Council of Governments, and if you don't know anything about it, this is a voluntary association of and by local governments which was established to assist in regional planning. And the purpose is to strengthen individual and collective power of the local governments and to help them recognize regional opportunities, eliminate unnecessary duplication, and make joint decisions. Next, we have the Alternative Fuels Data Center. The Alternative Fuels Data Center was launched in 1991 by the U.S. Department of Energy in response to the increased volume of alternative fuel vehicle performance data. They actually focus on biodiesel, electricity, ethanol, hydrogen, natural gas, and propane. And today we are going to focus on electricity because that's what the project is about, electrification in the city of Dallas. So next we will discuss methodology. Here I want to highlight the importance of knowing where to gather reliable GIS data from. I know that sometimes when we are in class and the data sources are given to us, we are simply handed a data set and we are expected to work with it, and a lot of times, if not most of the times, this data set happens to be exactly what we need and we don't need to do anything extra to it. So sometimes when you're actually working and you have a project like this, you have to go look for your own data sources. And some of the reliable ones that I have found are the Census, Homeland Security, local and state governments, as well as Department of Transportation of each state. On the next slide, you will see a table that I have as part of the deliverables for this project. Here I highlight the data source as well as the color that corresponds to the legend on the map, and also give a short description of the data so you can see right here. This basically on the left corresponds to the color on the legend, and then we have the legend description like I was mentioning, the data details, the source, and then this last column actually relates to a spreadsheet that I put together of all the contacts for these. So each one of them has a tab. Here is the map that I came up with, and you can see all the different distribution of the things we looked at. So EV charger stations, MUD sites with amenities, and MUD properties. And you see here that at the bottom, these are low income and minority areas, and those actually don't have any EV infrastructure, which is a problem. So steps to create this map include preparing TxDOT car registration data. So this data was basically just a spreadsheet, and I had to scrub for duplicates, filter single family homes, filter Dallas data, and then plug it into ArcMap, and I geocoded this data. Next, I downloaded the data from AFDC and from NCTcog, and I will show you in the following slides what I mean by that. And then step number 4, I imported this, and like I said, I geocoded, and I applied GIS processes to basically create this map that you see here. So the next step is to download the AFDC station data. So I go to the website, and then I click on locate stations right here, and then it takes us to this interface. And like I mentioned before, it has all the different kinds of fuels, but today we only want to focus on electric. So we're going to go to advanced filters like you see up here, and then we're going to go to location, and we're going to choose Texas. Next, we're going to go to fuel and choose the charger types as well as the connectors and networks. And then finally, this is going to be the data that we're going to look at for our analysis. So you download the results, and this is going to be providing you with coordinate data. And then you basically have to make sure that you plot it correctly and that you only focus on the area here in the city of Dallas. Next, we download the NCTcog environmental justice layers, which is the minority and poverty layers that I discussed earlier. So for this, you go to the website that we have outlined here. Then you click on the image of the map, and then you select which layers you want to download. So for this, we're just going to download the ones that we have here. So that's population density, and then the minority and poverty ones. Then I click on this arrow up here and environmental justice at NCTcog to download this data set. Okay, so then after that, I import all of this data into ArcMap, and I'm able to analyze it and basically conduct some GIS processes in order to get this map. So some of the deliverables are a collection of maps for the city of Dallas, an Excel workbook with contact information for the MUD properties, a letter to MUD property management, as well as a flyer with funding information for those interested in distributing that to their residents. And as a result, we found that there is a great number of MUDs in minority and low-income areas, and we determined there are no MUDs in those areas that provide on-site charging. And no EV chargers are available in minority and low-income areas. This process can also easily be replicated by other cities in order to determine if they need to focus their electrification efforts on these multi-unit housing areas. So that is very neat that they can replicate this, because the data is basically accessible to anybody. And some other things that I didn't outline on this presentation is that this has been presented to state officials as well as federal officials, and they're going to see if this helps influence legislation to basically show that we need more electrification efforts in these areas. And this project can be duplicated in other areas of the country. So finally, these are my sources: the Alternative Fuels Data Center and the NCTcog website. So thank you for joining me for my presentation today. That is all I have for you.